Old Gilbert Arenas came out and said Michael Jordan was a Bugatti, and he backs up Anthony Edwards and says he was the only skilled player of his generation. And I'm not shocked or surprised. I'm not even going to give you my laugh track because I expect it. Let me tell you something. As horrible a take as that is, Gilbert was what I call a high second tier player for his generation. He didn't win none, but he scored a lot of points. He had some points. He had some moments. He had that 60-point game against the Lakers, against Kobe and Phil Jackson. Everybody knows. He has some credibility because people do watch his show. Sometimes I watch his show. Sometimes I cringe with him and Kmart and them watch his show. And I already told you that he got into it with one of my buddies on Instagram some years ago about a take. But let me say this. I disagree. However, it's not his fault. Just like it ain't Anthony Edwards' fault. You know whose fault it is? It's the NBA's fault. And I'm going to say this respectfully because I do think Michael Jordan is one of the greatest players ever, and you can debate him as the GOAT. But who said he was the end all be all? Who told you that? Who told you that he was better than Bill Russell or Will Chamberlain? Who told you he was better than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? 6-0, 6 rings, everything, and great. But how does he represent the whole entirety of the NBA? Who told you that? The great Oscar Robertson said, and I quote, his marketing is as great as his game, maybe even greater. Do I think Michael Jordan could have necessarily been better than Oscar Robertson? No. I'll tell you why, because Oscar Robertson averaged a triple-double in the season, and Oscar Robertson nearly did for 4 other years, and Oscar Robertson played in an era with no three-point line, and he did not have... Jordan did get the benefit of once they changed the rules, of the Jordan rules with the Pistons. They changed. It was physical. They changed. I don't know what Oscar Robertson would a situation have been like, or Jerry West for that matter. People use different criteria for saying who's great, but the myth of Michael Jordan being superior. Now this is what I'm going to say. He earned what he earned, and there were other great skilled players. He was great. He did dominate post Magic, post Isaiah, post Larry Bird. So let's not get that twisted. And he was like that guy who could sell and was talented, no questions asked. And he's not the only one that's more skilled. But the way they have oversized him as a player and selling him as the logo and the icon, they did a disservice to Bill Russell. I cringe when I hear Magic Johnson say Bill Russell's the greatest winner, but not the greatest player. Why can't a defensive man... And they downplayed Bill Russell to hype up Dennis Rodman, as great as Rodman is, to downplay Wilt Chamberlain. Don't act like this is something new. You don't have to agree with Gilbert Arenas, because I don't agree with him 9.5 out of 10. However, as they always say, two sides, there's two things can be true. He's loony like Anthony Edwards to say that there were no other skilled players besides Jordan. But at the same time, however, they have made it like Jordan was the end-all be-all. They sit there and slurped him. Do you remember Bob Costas? What he said about Michael Jordan? He said, the greatest and the most overrated player. Think about that. Now, they want to use this criteria to bring him head-to-head against LeBron, which is hilarious, because LeBron doesn't belong anywhere in the sentence with him. And Avery Johnson pointed that out. But who's to say that you can't call Magic Johnson the GOAT and Larry Bird the GOAT? Who said you can't call Kareem the GOAT, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain? Who says you can't? Who says you can't say that about Shaquille O'Neal if you wanted to, because he dominated like nobody's business. No one is three-peating. And you're in an era now. Let me put this in perspective for all you Bronny-acts out there. You ain't three-peated. You Steph Curry-acts. You ain't three-peated. You Durant-acts. You ain't three-peated. You Tim Duncan-acts. You ain't three-peated. Shaq was the last one. Let that sit. That's dominance. I don't care who he went up against. You know what it was going through. So, my thing is this. It's embarrassing that the disrespect for the OGs. However, don't act like the game didn't push the Jordan low. I want to be like Mike, and that was played over and over, and that's been a consistent. You never played I want to be like Bill Russell. You were scared of Bill Russell. You were scared of Kareem on and off the court. Wilt Chamberlain. It's a lot of things that they just didn't do. You see, and that's the reality of it. Like if I talk football, we'll say Jerry Rice is the GOAT, but some will say Randy Moss, some will say T.O. The reality is, but Jerry Rice stands out, what have you. You have different arguments, but people also sometimes will acknowledge eras. They don't do that here. So they've done a disservice to every NBA player. For all the ones who always talk about LeBron and Jordan is the best too have done a disservice to a lot of guys. And I don't stand for it because I think it's hard to say one guy's better. I have my 10 or so, but I don't really like saying, because I can change. I can say it. And while Jordan was great for his era and his time, you asked me personally during his era, who I would probably take as my number one. If it ain't, it'd be Magic or Kareem, if I'm honest, or maybe even Bird, because I thought they were just as great, if not greater, for different reasons. And I know there was a lot of skills, but we should have a different criteria. But anyway, Gilbert does those Kanye West type of takes, but he's not off with how they have manipulated the mind to sell the game. He ain't wrong in that regard. He wrong in the take, but he ain't wrong in how, just like Anthony Edwards ain't wrong in how they've manipulated, because they've only told you Jordan was the end all be all. They've done a disservice to the fans. No other sport sits there and just says that's the end all be all, 1 and 2. You get 4 or 5 the cats at debate. They didn't done that with the NBA. And I said it before. The Johnny Come Lately just gave Bill Russell the finals awards. How long had he been gone before they did that? And then the Token, Magic, and Bird awards. Think about it. So it's a touchy subject. But really, let me ask you this question: Do you give me your list? Do you think Jordan's the end all be all? Because see, that's what they've sold you on. That's what they've sold you on. And when cats say this, they're not saying stuff necessary for clicks and views and bait, because there is 50% truth that's what David Stern out, what the powers that be have pushed down your throat. They've pushed that down your throat. That's all they want to do. They quantify and say, well, Magic's the greatest point guard, or so-and-so's the greatest is, but they say Jordan's there. So when you start doing that, you're giving people designated areas. You're not letting them think for themselves. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands, keep your mind clear. Watch out for another share if you like, and please hit that membership, because when you do the videos you request, I bring them to you. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay true, stay real, stay clear, stay clean, stay woke. I'm out one time.